Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Think Future. My name's Chris Kalaboukis, and once again, we're coming at you live from deep in the heart of Silicon Valley, California. We're talking innovation startups, the future. Not necessarily those, and not necessarily in that order. If you're watching on YouTube, smack that subscribe button and hit that bell so you can be notified when a new show comes online. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast service, please subscribe and please drop a note on Apple Podcasts. I greatly, 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 greatly appreciate it. You know what I think is really interesting, and I wrote a blog post on this a long time ago, is that, I don't know about you, but I almost always get more out of the comments on content than the content itself. Haven't you found that to be true? I'm always entertained and informed, more entertained and more informed by commentary on a topic. And you know what I'm talking about? Like, you're watching this YouTube video right now, or you're listening to this podcast, and you're watching this YouTube video, and you go down and you look at the comments on the video. And I always found that whenever I'm watching a video and I read the comments, I actually get more out of the comments than I get out of the content itself. So if you think about it, it's kind of weird, isn't it? Because the content itself seems to be like the main thing, right? The content that you create is the main thing. But really, what's happening is that the content is simply a seed. It's just a seed to start off the conversation, which happens below in the comments. So if you think about it, our whole model is kind of messed up, right? Because we're focusing on the actual content itself and driving the algorithms on the content and producing really good content and better content and this content and that content, and everyone cares so much about the content itself that's being produced and put so much effort into the content. And the reality is that people don't get that much out of the content itself. And in fact, what happens is that people create content not to generate, well, they get content for views, obviously, but they do the content specifically for the engine. They create the content for the engine and not the human beings who are commenting below. They create the content for the engine because they know that they have to create the content for the engine. If they don't create the content for the engine, then nobody will see the content. And this is the problem with content. The content today, I've said content too many times now. We all content producers, I guess you could call us. We all create content day in, day out. I create content 5 times a week, 4 times a week, depending, 5 times a week, including interview shows. And the thing is that I create content for human beings. I want to create content for human beings. But the problem is that the way our systems are designed is that we can't create content for human beings. Content providers cannot create content for human beings. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you think. I'm not creating this content for you. Well, I am, because I personally am creating this content for you. I don't care about machines reading the content. But the problem is that every content provider out there has to care about machines reading the content. We have to care about what the machines think because the machines are the gatekeepers of the content. If the machines don't like the content, they're not going to show the content to anybody else. And you've seen this on every piece of social media. It's on YouTube, it's on Rumble, it's on Facebook, it's on Twitter, it's on TikTok, it's everywhere. If the machines don't like the content, then the content is not going to spread. So 9 times out of 10, us poor content providers, even though we want to create content for people, we end up creating content for machines because we have to keep the machines happy. If we don't keep the machines happy, we're never going to be even seen by the people. Now, if you ask me, there's something really, really wrong with that. There's something really, really wrong with that. But that is the way things are nowadays. The only way to gain attention is to get the attention of the machine. Once you've got the attention of the machine, then maybe the machine will say, hey, some of those humans out there may be interested in what this content provider has to say. And then maybe I'll eke out a little bit of this to the people so the people can actually see what's out there. Otherwise, we're relegated to the bowels of the internet and nobody will ever see us. And that happens all the time. There's millions of content providers out there, millions of people who've created amazing content, just absolutely amazing content, things that you will not believe are out there. Incredible content. But you know what? No one's ever going to see those bits of content because they didn't keep the machines happy. If you don't keep the machines happy, then the machine's not going to share your content with anybody. But I digress. I wanted to talk about the comments. So the reality is, the best stuff is in the comments. The best stuff is in the human beings interacting with each other below the content. And since the best stuff is in the comments interacting with each other below the content, I almost think that if you're a startup founder out there, or if you're thinking about going into building a startup, maybe an interesting idea would be to figure out how to leverage the comments over the content. Because you're probably just like me in that sometimes the comments, in fact, most of the time, let's say all the time, almost all the time, the comments and the discussion within the comments is actually more interesting than the content. I know for sure for this video, it probably is, because I wouldn't be surprised if the machines downgrade this video so much that nobody ever sees it. But I digress. So yeah, if you're thinking about building a new service, try and build something that highlights the interaction between the individuals who have watched the content or listened to the content instead of the content itself. I'd really love to see something like that. I'd really love to see something like that because I think that's where the value lies. The value lies in the comments, not the content. That's it for me for today. See you next time, and until then, don't forget to think future.